Welcome, everybody, to Pod and Review the Week. The week. The week was pretty good. Let's talk about the week, Jacob.
Yes, let's do it.
We started off the week bringing back Wade Harlan, and we talked about the book Steal Like an Artist, Austin Kleon. What did you think?
Well, I enjoyed seeing Wade again, of course. But Cleon's book just resonated with me, meaning not so much resonating like, oh, I'm doing it, but like, hey, um, it's so important to continue to put art in your life. I mean, I think what we're doing here is, could be considered artistic, as in we're being creative and so forth. But even just if you're somebody who likes to draw or someone likes to make movies, I'm reading a book right now by the Ron Howard and Clint Howard brothers, and how they began and how they just started doing Super 8 movies, and it was just something that was interesting to them. And so it was a nice reminder that, hey, make sure you have that piece in your life, because it's just so, it just makes life interesting to have that art piece in your repertoire of life.
So as I think about the video we made around the book Still Like an Artist, I thought of a couple of things to kind of look at again real briefly. The chapter on write the book you want to read. if there's one thing I want to remember, it's that concept. And you can look at it like in your teaching, in the sense that teach the class you want to take, right? If you look at it through that framework, it might help. And it might make you adjust a few things, because you might think, I wouldn't want to sit here and do this for 15 minutes so much. And you can empathize with the student a little bit, or, oh, I'd really like to do that if I was a student. I'd like to do this. And so, even things like telling a student a concept as opposed to asking them a question. I prefer that a lot of times teachers asking me questions. I like that challenge. And that's a thought experiment you can do among many others with that concept. The other thing is the idea of stealing is useful for a teacher. I think I might have mentioned that, but or some of it, one of us did. But
I think we always steal, don't we? Yeah.
We always steal, but to be specific, it's okay to steal and then modify for your personality. So, as an example of something that I've stolen, a teacher, Natalie Poston, used to, when I walked into her class, I would see, and she taught English, she had a silent reading time. She had a library of books, and around that library, she had a rug, a lamp, and a sofa. And students connected comfort with reading. So what I've done, I can't put a sofa in my room, but just because of the configuration of things, but I've added these comfortable chairs and a rug and next to the library, and students love it.
Wow.
They beg me, especially my, classes have different personalities,
Right.
But my fourth period class, they'll have 3 or 4 kids right in front of my door, because I keep the door closed until the bell rings, right in front of my door, waiting to jump into class. Now think about it. Think about that for a moment. 4 kids trying to be in first place to get into my room. It really made me reflect, and I think, man, am I glad that I did this? And I started to think about it. Well, why did I do this? Natalie. I stole this from Natalie. So The other thing I stole was, I didn't actually steal this. You told me you did this, and so I just started doing it. But you did the Spotify thing, where each class has a Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
A couple of my classes, this semester, it hasn't worked for some reason. They just weren't interested. But for 2 of the classes, so what it is it's a Spotify playlist. Students recommend songs, you add, and as the students come into class, I have the music, that playlist going. And what I've noticed, why I like it, is students feel like you listen to them, I think, and they feel connected to the class when they hear their song playing. that they recommended, and you could see their face.
Once in a while they'll say, "Oh, that's my song."
Yes.
That's awesome.
And I like to, like, sometimes I'll hear a song that I don't recognize, because you just add all these songs, and
Right.
I'll compliment the song. I go, wow, this is a good song, and they'll say, yeah, oh, thank you, that's my song.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a good call on that one.
And I think it's good for us too. Like you mentioned that, like I like this song. There are some times where I've heard bands I've never heard before. I go, oh, I like this music, and so now I start putting it on my own personal playlist. So the kids, their little art affects us, or not art, but their music choices. Hey,
So
I like to go ahead.
Yeah,
I was
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say that. I mean, the one of the chapters that resonated with me was be boring. It's the only way to get things done, because for me, I have my week kind of structured, like things I need to take care of for work. There's a lot of objectives I have to get things done, and so there is that piece of the week where I look forward to, which is doing this room, and I enjoy doing what we do here. So I even getting it organized and getting us to this point where we're on the air here. But I had to get all those things done during the week. Getting my lessons, doing things at home, having a structure at my house here where things, there's
So be
things I want to take care
boring.
of.
Be boring means what exactly?
And I'm not sure. I mean, his choice of words were interesting, but I think what he was trying to say was that, take care of all those things that you need to take care of. You can have sometimes we think of artists if we're living in like a grunge life. No, you don't have to live that type of life. You can live a life where you have a home and your family and
you're just
children
taking
and a
care
dog.
of business.
Basically, that's what he's trying to say. Thank you. I'm sorry. Taking care of business so you could have that time to play and do your art. I like that, and I try to do that during the week.
So the book is Still Like an Artist, Austin Kleon. So then we talked to Juan Cardona. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, Juan. I hadn't seen Juan physically for a while, for many years. Although we've chatted online and so forth, we definitely had a loss of a colleague of ours with Paulina Fontes. So it was nice to hear him again. And I think the one thing that was pulled out was that we talked about what kids remember after they leave our classroom. They remember, like in his room, he builds relationships, and he figured that out. Like, wait a minute, they're not going to remember all my lessons, but they're going to remember our conversations, our ideas that we've shared. And he shows respect to them. And like he shared a couple of times how he definitely likes to use humor and likes to joke. And he does respect kids who bring humor, but not to be a clown and not be clownish. And I think that's his point of saying, you know what, let's continue to respect one another. We don't have to be putting each other down, being silly, but let's have a good laugh. And I'm going to provide a good laugh as well. So I just like those strategies where sometimes we think, oh, we got to get all our lessons and the kids are going to remember this 10 years from now. No, they're not. They're going to remember that you cared about them, that you spent time with them.
Well, I also enjoy the emphasis he made on humor, and it's important that teachers provide humor. And we mentioned this last semester when we reviewed the book by Scott Adams. I'm forgetting the title. Oh my gosh, how to fail at life. The title will come to me.
Right.
But he mentioned the importance of humor, and it doesn't mean that you have to be funny. Mm-hmm. It means you provide an atmosphere of humor in some way. And I noticed that it helps students in teaching a concept. Because it gives them a pause, like, what did he just say, or what was just stated? But either you're funny or you provide opportunities for humor, and it gets students' attention. So
perfect.
That's important. And okay, so Juan Cardona, a lot of people have viewed that video, and yes. He also gave a little backstory about the film Stand and Deliver. And we have information about that movie coming up soon, so stay tuned for that.
Can I just also mention, when you mentioned that Stand and Deliver, I think that's another connection he does, is like he understands that kids like to know about our personal lives, don't they? When you give them a little piece of something you've done in the past, or they kind of just like, what's going on there? Because sometimes they're shocked when they feel like they realize that we're real human beings. Have you ever run into a student, Ruben, at a store or a market or a restaurant, and they're like blown away, like, oh, what are you doing here? Like, no, I eat at restaurants and I, right?
No, because I know my students don't think I'm an alien. Obviously, they think you're crazy. That
No,
you
I
don't
think
go to
that's where
school.
most teachers feel that way. Hey,
I
if
will
you're
say,
okay, go ahead.
I will say though, speaking of personal lives, if I could make one difference, or how would I say this? If I could identify one thing different about today than when I first started teaching,
Yeah.
is I do not talk about my personal life anymore. Almost none at all. And only when I joke about it. I'll go, oh, my third wife used to tell me this too. And because it's just for humor's sake.
Right.
I don't have a third wife.
Right.
But that's the only time I really delve into my personal life. And the reason is because it's such a time waster to just sit there and talk about your life. And I'm just saying, I'm not judging anybody who does. But I remember I used to talk a lot about myself when I first started teaching, and now hardly at all. But that's just me. Let's go to our discussion about Granada Hills Charter High School, where I work.
Okay.
The firing of 7 staff members and teachers.
That was heavy. I'm not sure if I shared this with you, Ruben, but at our school, we got some emails this week, or at least Amy, I should say an email, already getting ready for the students. There's this, and we mentioned in our video, our episode, that there's going to be many students not taking the vaccine. So where are they going to go? And so they'll probably be doing distant learning again. And there's a big need for teachers in our district to get online again. And so they're promoting that, like, hey, do you want to teach online? We're like, what? Because they're seeing it. They're saying, we are going to have a big number in January.
So to me, I can just probably guess there's going to be quite a lot of teachers who want to do that.
Right? You know what? I don't know. Do you think so? I mean,
of course. Just like there are a lot of teachers who didn't want to go back on campus.
That's true. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking, because I don't want to do that anymore. But I guess there are others who do. So
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how I feel. If I had a choice between going back online and sticking with the, you can go ahead and keep interrupting me, but I'll try to get it through. Between going on online and sticking with the mask, I'd go online for sure. I'd go online today.
Okay. All right.
Over wearing I'm through with the mask. I'm through.
I hear you.
The other thing though is I don't understand this idea of our teachers getting fired, and LAUSD teachers have not been fired, right?
Not that I know of. I think they've been given that option to be online. I think I would, and I don't know. I haven't talked to teachers I have talked to one, but that person's going teaching distant learning. So I think they've been offered that, and I think they're taking it. They must be taking it.
So I'm thinking, what if they never fire any teachers at LAUSD, and our teachers get fired? I know there's already a lawsuit coming.
Right.
This sounds like a easy slam dunk. Why did our teachers get?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't seem
picked on. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll play itself out with the litigation, and that'll probably even affect other districts across the country, because it seems like the eyes are always on LAUSD because it's the second largest district in the country, and also the schools surrounding the districts surrounding LAUSD.
Just seems a bit unfair, but the last thing was the Hoosiers discussion.
Yes, Hoosiers. I'm not sure if we mentioned what is a Hoosier, right? I mean, it's somebody who lives in Indiana, I believe. I think that's what it is. And because I've met people who said, "Oh, I'm a Hoosier," I go, "Oh, they must have went to, University of Indiana or something." But no, they're just from Indiana. But I thought the film was fun. I mean, it was something I think we both agreed on. I think we both liked the film, right, Ruben? I think so. And I think
it's a good film, not just a good sports film. It's just a good film.
Yeah. The acting, and I think both of us weren't big fans of Barbara Hershey and her performance. I mean, she did fine, but then it seemed.
I didn't. For me, it wasn't just her performance; it was just her character.
Yeah, she didn't seem somebody I would want to date.
Right.
That's
She
just
was
me,
just,
though. Just me.
what did she, yeah, anyway, I already reviewed. I don't want to go back.
But I would say this, though,
Um,
comparing it to McFarland, we have a teacher coming into a school, a white man. His name in McFarland was Mr. White, and here there's Norman Dale, right? And but there's differences. We haven't reviewed the book Good to Great, but there is that idea that you should, if you take someone from the outside and bring them into your organization, that doesn't always work. Actually, it doesn't work often. It's bringing people within your system. And in both those movies, these are people who are outsiders who come in and stir it up and are successful. But if you look at that in organizations, that doesn't always happen. But in this case, it happened, and they were successful.
well, I don't know. I mean, can't you say that about all good teachers? Wasn't Jaime Escalante from the outside?
Yeah, I mean, was he? I mean, he was from like Latino. I mean, you could argue that he's from the
He was,
Latino
he wasn't
community.
he wasn't born in the U.S.
That's true. That's true.
But
And
I think
good point.
maybe it's a little
A little
different
different
if you're
education.
talking about CEOs coming in from the top as opposed to being promoted from within, compared to like teachers who or coaches. I think
Maybe a
that's
lower
be a
echelons.
little different. Uh, Good movie, good week,
Yes,
and
sir.
then next week will be good, maybe even good to great. So tune in, everybody, to Pod and
Yes.
Deliver. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.